myself a camera. So exciting. I'm still not 100% sure how to use it, but I'm looking forward to learning, and at least this will mean that there will no longer be any more grainy, awful videos done using my webcam. So I thought the first thing that I would do with my new camera is obviously make a video, and I'd found something on YouTube and it's called the Bookshelf Scavenger Hunt, and as you can see, these are some of my books, so I'm looking forward to rifling through them. This idea came from somebody called Sarah, and her YouTube channel is called The Library of Sarah, and I will put a link down below in the description box so that you can have a look at her original scavenger hunt. And she lists some various things to look for on your bookshelves. I will give this a go and see if I can find the things that she asks for. So the first thing is an author's name or a book title that contains the letter Z. Well, the obvious one, The Book Thief, Marcus Zusak. Unfortunately, well not unfortunately, this is a brilliant book, but I've watched a lot of these videos for bookshelf scavenger hunts, and nearly everybody has pulled this book off their shelves. It is one of the best books I have ever read in my life, so I'm going to pull this one as the first book because I think everybody should read it. Do not watch the film. You will be so disappointed if you watch the film. The books are always better than films, but read this. It is brilliant. The next one is a classic. I studied literature at university, so pretty much most of my shelves contain a classic. So I will just find one for you. Dracula, Bram Stoker. I didn't really enjoy this. I'm not a fan of classics. I know that's probably a terrible thing to say. Yeah, it's all right for its time period and the themes and the story, but I didn't enjoy this that much. But there's my classic. A book with a key on it. I will have to say, I didn't think I had any books with keys on, and I did have a look. I did do a little bit of cheating, because I wanted to see if I could find one, and I looked, and out of all the books that I own, there's nothing with a key on, not even the tiniest little key in the world. So I'm afraid I can't find that one. If I do find it, I will let you know, but for now, I'm afraid that is a fail. Something on your bookshelf that isn't a book. I like to keep a pair of scissors on my bookshelf. Not for cutting up books, I hasten to add. I would never cut up a book. But they live on my bookshelf. They're quite a good pair of scissors. If they're on my bookshelf, I know where they are. If I tidy them away, I won't know where to find them. So here's my trusty pair of scissors. I've also got a few other things that aren't books. Tape. You can never do without tape. A do not disturb sign, which should be hanging on the door, but it keeps falling off, so it's not on the door anymore. Kirby grips. You can never have too many Kirby grips, and it's always a good idea to have them everywhere, just in case you have flyaway strands you need to pin back. A Pilates band that I haven't used yet. What best place to put it than on the bookshelf? So, aside from all these books, I have quite a few things on my bookshelves that aren't books. The oldest book on your shelf. I will be back. Hang on a second. The oldest book on my shelf is this Bible, and let me see. It's in Roman numerals. I will be back again. I need to find out what these Roman numerals stand for. MDCCCLX1. Bear with me. So, having looked online, because my Roman numerals don't go much past X, this book was published in 1861, and it's lovely. I love old books. I love the old book smell. I love going into second-hand bookshops, and this one has the old book smell. The pages are a bit yellowy, and it kind of creaks when you open the pages. So 1861, the oldest book. A book with a girl on the cover. I don't even have to think about this one. Oh, where are you? Where Ah, there we go. Matilda by Roald Dahl. There she is. Brilliant book. One that epitomises my childhood. If I think back to when I was about 7 years old, this is the book that takes me there. It is just brilliant. I used to want to be Matilda. I'd sit for ages staring at things, hoping I could make them move. I never could, surprisingly, but I could through reading Matilda. Absolutely brilliant book. A book that has an animal in it. Again, don't even need to think about this one. As an adult, you would think that most of my shelves are full of adult books, but you'd be wrong. The Sniff Stories by Ian Whybrow, another book from my childhood, another book that I absolutely love. If you've ever had a dog, you know how mischievous they can be, and Sniff is just the greatest mischievous dog that there is. He's always getting into trouble, always getting messy and dirty, but you can't help but love him. So if you've ever owned a dog, read this book, because it will just help you understand your dog a little bit more. Even if you've never had a dog, brilliantly funny stories. Written for children, but it doesn't matter as long as you're enjoying what you're reading. Great book. A book with a male protagonist. This is Indecision by Benjamin Kunkel. I bought this ages ago. It was in Waterstones on one of the 3 for 2. And I bought it because I'm terrible at making decisions, and I thought that title was brilliant. And I can't really remember much about it. It's about a guy who can't make decisions, and he starts to take medication that helps him with it. And I think he gets up to some strange things, but I can't really remember. But the lead character is called Dwight, which is a man's name. So there we go, Indecision. A book with only words on the cover. Eunoia by Christian Bock. I don't know if you can see that. It doesn't really have words on the cover. It just has lots and lots of letters. And this is a really interesting book if you like something a little bit hard going and strange. He writes short stories. It's not a very long book, you can see. And each story is a univocalic, which is a text that only contains one of the vowels. So if I just read you a little bit. Hassan balks at all sacral tasks, a mass at Sabbath, a fast at Ramadan. So if you notice there, that just one sentence only contained the vowel A. So if you're interested in strange and weird things, this is a good book, and it has no pictures on the front, just letters. A book with illustrations in it. Well, this should be easy considering I have so many children's books, but let's see what I can find. I'm going to go for this one, 99 Ways to Tell a Story, Exercises in Style by Matt Madden. And this is a lovely book. I really, really like this one. I like strange things, a little bit odd, a little bit different. And this one is a book that contains one story written 99 different ways. And the ways it is written is through comic books. It's like a comic book style. Now, I don't know if you can see that. And each story is a different style of comic book, and it's written in all these different ways, and it's very interesting and very different and just the kind of thing that I like. So this book contains 99 different illustrations. A book with gold lettering. Let's see. Well, this is the only one that I can see for now, and it's another classic, and it's Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. And I don't know how well you can see that, but that lettering is gold. It's kind of shiny there, and it's also on the spine. A diary, true or fictional. This is one of my favourite books. I've got quite a few favourite books, but this is one of my favourite books, again, from my childhood, something that I just absolutely enjoyed reading, and I read it from cover to cover to cover to cover to cover and back again so many times. So let's see if I can find it. Sue Townsend, The Diary of Adrian Mole. Oh my goodness, if you have not read the Adrian Mole diaries, you really are missing out on some brilliant, brilliant storytelling. These books, there are so many of them. Sue Townsend wrote so many books of Adrian Mole, and it is just one of the funniest things ever. You step inside the life of this young boy, aged 13 3/4, and you learn all about his life, the way he thinks, and he's a very smart young man. A book written by someone with a common name like Smith. I'm not sure if I own any Smith books, but let's have a see if I can find a common name anyway. I think the next best option would probably be Brown after Smith for a common name, but I really don't think I have any of those. So I've had to go for Matthew Green, Memoirs of an Imaginary Friend. I do have to say I've not read this book yet. It was on my Christmas list a couple of Christmases ago and I've still not got around to reading it. So shame on me, but I will get round to reading it when I've got the time. Too many books, not enough time. But there we go, Matthew Green. A book that has a close-up of something on it. Regeneration by Pat Barker. You can see it's got a close-up of the hand of a statue. There. A book that takes place in the earliest time period. Again, having studied literature at university, we studied it all the way back to the beginning of time. So I think the earliest time period in a book is the Iliad by Homer. And this is set during the Trojan War, which I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, my memory is quite terrible, is around 1200 BC. So I think that's the earliest time period in a book that I have. A hardcover book without a jacket, and Sarah did specify not to get a hardcover book with a jacket and take it off. I think I've got a few hardcover books, so let's see. Here we go. Poetry in Emotion, the illustrated words of Scroobius Pip. If you've never heard of Scroobius Pip, this guy here, check him out. He's an awesome spoken word poet. Just got such a brilliant way with words, and he asked his fans to create illustrations to go along with some of his spoken word poetry and songs, and this is this book, and it is just lovely. Again, another book with illustrations, but yeah, it's just really interesting to see how people have responded to his words and what they've come up with. But it's a lovely hardback book, but check him out, he's awesome. A teal or turquoise coloured book. I don't know if you can see, most of my shelves are arranged in colour order. I do like the rainbow. I know I should probably organise my books in alphabetical order, but I like bright colours, so they're going to be in colour order. So just something random. Margaret Atwood, Surfacing, there we go. A nice teal, turquoisey coloured book. A book with stars on it. Again, looking for books with things on the cover, I did have to do a little bit of cheating. I was hoping to find something that had, you know, kind of a printed image of a star. Couldn't find anything, so the next best thing is The Humans by Matt Haig, and I don't know if you can see, there's a shooting star just there. Is it going to show up all the little stars in the night sky? You've got the moon there and the little stars, so I'm afraid that's the best I can do with book with stars on the cover. A non-young adult book. I guess this was put in because Sarah is a young adult, so she must read a lot of young adult fiction herself, but as you've seen through my past book review videos and even today, I read a range of things from children's books to adult books and everything in between. So something that isn't a young adult book, I guess, could be a non-fiction book, poetry, or an adult book or a children's book. So I've got a bit of a collection of all of those types of things, so let's see what I can find. This is quite a nice one. How to be well versed in poetry. I like this one. As a poetry student, I think it's very good. It shows different styles of poetry, different ways of writing with examples. This gives me a little bit of inspiration every now and then. She lastly asks if anybody wants to complete this scavenger hunt to add their own thing onto the end of the list. She's given us a little bit of a list. So I'm going to add one myself. So it is a book that you had to read at school, college or university. And this one is a book that I read so many times. I don't even want to think how many times I read it. It's lodged in my brain box for eternity. And this is Hamlet by William Shakespeare. I'm not a huge Shakespeare fan. I have to say there are some better playwrights out there, but this was one that we had to read, and this copy is just, it's full of notes, full of underlining, full of colour-coded stickers at the top to help me remember where things are, just so many notes and things like that. So that's my last thing on the list, a book that I had to read at school, and I read it so many times. So I hope you've enjoyed having a little look around my bookshelf, or my bookshelves, I should say. There's even more books up here and more books down here that you can't see. So if you have enjoyed it, why don't you give it a go and give credit back to Sarah, whose idea it was. And if you have enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more of my videos, then please subscribe to my channel. I generally put out book reviews, but I do other bits and pieces as well. I give out writing advice, and I'm also a shameless self-promoter of my own writing, and I share that with you every now and then. So if you're a writer and or a reader, and that seems like something you'd be interested in, then please subscribe to my channel, and have a good rest of the day, and I'll see you soon.